Specialized Levo, probably the most popular e-bike on the market, but is it worth it? Riders, welcome back to the channel, and today it's all about the Specialized Levo, and we are here with Brett, aka Adventures with Warby. He runs a very good YouTube channel in Adelaide, and Brett, very nice to have you on the channel, mate. Thanks for your time. I would love to ride every bike and test every bike, but you know, those guys on YouTube that drop a video every week saying this is the best new e-bike, you know, you need time on these bikes to understand these bikes. I don't think you can do it in a day or a week. I think you need about 300-400 Ks in a bike before you understand it. So I'm kind of thinking that I really want to speak to more people like Brett and really get their input on how they're liking their e-bike or their bikes. And I just thought that this was a great opportunity. And Brett's also made some really cool mods to the Levo, making it a bit more aggressive. So here we are, and we're talking about the Levo. So Brett, how long have you had the Levo for?
Probably a good 8 months to a year, I reckon.
Yep. Brett has a Mega Tower and a Levo, so we're in good company here, and he can ride. Check out his channel. He's bloody good. So when we're buying these bikes, there's always a list of 3. What were the other bikes you were looking at?
So the ones released at that stage, you're talking with the old Bosch motor, was the Trek.
Superfly?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, the Trek.
Yep.
And the Merida was there too with the Shimano. Or you had the Levo with the Bros motor. Yep. So I tried the Trek. It was that was interesting to ride. Really long train stay, and the above 25 kilometers an hour, she did not disengage the motor. It was like hitting a wall, so that was pretty written off.
Yep.
The Merida was value for money, 100%. It was brilliant. And then the Bros. The only thing that converted me to the Bros was the battery and the natural feeling of it.
It's quite embarrassing. I have an e-bike channel, and I haven't really spent much time on a Specialized because the Bros motor is supposed to be the best natural feeling motor. I have had a very small play on them. But yeah, so would you say that's one of the main reasons you bought the Specialized?
Yes.
Yep.
100%.
Okay. So is this your first e-bike?
Yes, first one I've owned. Yep.
Yeah. Did you feel bad about buying an e-bike?
At that stage of my life, I just had my first child. So essentially my riding time was shorter and sharper, so I only had less, or basically like an hour to an hour and a half little pockets. I found the e-bike to be brilliant to be able to like just go out there, smash some laps, and not be away for half a day.
This is a big one for all the riders out there because, you know, even though you bought traditional bike shop, you can sit on these bikes, but a lot of the time you can't test these bikes. What size did you go for? How tall are you? And are you happy with the fit?
So I am on a large of the Levo. Yes, quite happy with the fit. I would definitely want a demo bikes before, especially with the motor characteristics, bringing another dimension into it before I bought one. And with e-bikes, I've found there is some more things to go wrong with them. Having that dealer locally to be able to drop it off and fix stuff is worth it. Definitely worth it.
It's definitely more economics for me because, I mean, we live in Spain and these bikes are expensive. I went online because of value for money. Did you consider that at all?
Yeah, I did consider it. Well, you're talking a year ago with e-bikes. They've come a long way in a year.
They have.
At the time, they were Specialized. I had the previous Levo out for a long time, but I still wanted someone to actually physically take it to. And I didn't want to be, obviously this would be my only bike, and I didn't want to have that large gap where you send it away or you sit on and you type an email and you have to wait 6 to 8 weeks to actually get something replaced.
Yeah, totally. And I haven't spoken much about on my channel about I have got a problem with my motor at the moment because we're obviously in Australia, but the motor has like that, you know, when you're riding a bike and the headset comes loose, it's got like a clunking sound. my motor has a clunking sound. I have spoken to YT about it, and YT have given me the contact details for Shimano in Madrid. And when I get back to Spain, I'm pretty sure it will be a drop-off pickup, probably within a week. But that is a big concern for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I would love to know how Specialized and the local dealers deal with that, because they probably do need to send those bikes back, or maybe they just drop out the motor and put a new motor in. I don't know how they deal with it.
They send away a warranty form into Melbourne, and it's usually back within a week.
Oh wow! Oh,
so the motor's been replaced in that, because that was one of the early ones that had
really?
the growl in it.
Yep.
Yeah. They've sent me a brand new set of rims because I've stripped the engagement in the whole thing. So with e-bikes, there's a lot more stress that goes on with everything. So yeah. I would definitely recommend having a really good dealer to deal with, because
there you go. No, very good.
I've pushed the warranty on this.
Yeah, I mean, I've been riding mine 9 months now, and touch wood, I haven't done anything. I mean, apart from the motor, which is a big thing, but if something went between the motor and the battery, or the battery and the changer, it would have to go back to Germany.
Okay.
Because it's a YT specific battery.
Yep.
So we're talking about warranties. So you've had new rims, and now you're saying suspension as well.
Yep. So I've had motor, I've had suspension, resuspension.
Yep.
And I've had brand new Specialized Roval wings. So they've sent me a brand new set of DT Swiss 370s.
We're talking about probably best part of $3 or $4 grand there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, I would say definitely the warranty is really important. And there's guys that, I'm not a fan of de-chipping, but now having an e-bike, I want that 2-year warranty. And how do you feel about the de-chipping? Is that something you do, or?
Not with the experience that I've had. No, I'm going to wait till my warranty's up, and then I'll move on from there.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll do it. Mine's out in a year. Maybe I'll have a look at it, but for me, I'm just against it. I just don't think we need it unless you're commuting.
Yeah,
unless you're riding to work.
The only legal chipping you can possibly do is just changing the region.
I might do that. Yeah, I mean, America gets 32 k's an hour, and Australia gets 25. Europe gets 25. 32 would be.
That'd be plenty.
That would be enough. Yeah. How much did she cost?
It wasn't that bad. I think recommended retail on that was $9.
Yep.
I got $1,500 off RRP.
Nice.
So
nice.
For a Levo at the time, it wasn't too bad.
No, that's good. And I understand you've done some mods. So what have you done?
I found with the Levo running it, it's got a 450mm chainstay. I'd have to double check that.
457.
Yeah.
I know it.
That is a longer chainstay. The one thing that I found with them, brilliant for climbing, but it does tend to buck you a little bit whenever you're coming off jumps, and it doesn't roll in. You really had to fight a little bit. Even me being 6'1" on 29s, I understand what they ride like. So one thing I did is change it to a mullet. So I run 650B on the rear. All you got to do is just flip the chip into the high position on the shock, bounces the bottom bracket up, which made a massive difference to rolling in.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've just done to it, which has made a huge change, is put a 160mm Fox 36 on the front.
Coming from a 34, correct?
Yeah, it was a 150mm Fox 34.
Okay. You've slackened it, so you're probably more like 65 now, and going the mullet in the high setting, you're probably the same as the low setting, but you've gone a mullet, so you probably shorten the back end as well. That's a pretty good move.
Yeah, it makes a really big difference rolling in and being a lot more playful.
Yep.
Would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, oh, that's good. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of, I don't think I've seen anyone do that. Where did you get did you just want to try it, or something you've seen online, or?
There's a local bloke around here that's been saying some pretty impressive stuff about mullets on normal bikes and whatever else, and this has a flip chip, so I thought there was a spare rim that I saw up on Facebook Marketplace. I think it was $150 for a DT Swiss 350. I went, oh, well, give it a try. What am I going to lose?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely worth doing.
So you bought the Levo 12 months ago, more or less. Are you happy with it, and what would be the best and worst thing about the Levo?
For the money, the Specialized obviously don't have the best spec, on the bikes. Bros motor, 100%. The battery is brilliant, 100%. Guide RE brakes are really good. Suspension, I'm not really doing trail riding. If you were just doing trail riding along single track, it'd be nice. I'm doing a little bit more of aggressive riding, so definitely a 160mm, more of a bulkier fork is a must. And what else? I would probably tend towards going for a little bit bulkier rear shock. That I've thrown I've got the maximum spacer in there, and being a heavier rider, it does struggle with keeping you up in the circ.
I mean, Specialized have always been more expensive. Like, they are an expensive bike. I think you pay for the research and development that goes into those bikes.
Yeah.
But your spec, you get a banging frame, you get a great motor, but the spec is a little bit disappointing.
If that bike was frame only, I would love to be able to get it. Frame only with motor and battery, sorry, and then spec it from there.
Yeah.
If they sold it like that,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be good?
No, but they don't, unfortunately. Okay, so this is an interesting one for the e-bike fans. Brett has been riding the Levo now for 12 months, and he has just bought a Santa Cruz Mega Tower. Just talk us through your thinking on that, and why you've, normally it's the other way around, and like, what were you thinking, but what were you missing from the e-bike?
The e-bike's brilliant in the way of you can get out every single day and go for a ride. If you keep your cadence up, you can still keep your heart rate up and get this. The one thing you lose though is the general power in your legs that I found. As in, if you jump on a normal bike and climb a hill after being on an e-bike, your legs fill up with lactic acid and it burns.
It's true. You lose that top end, that just last top end, like the power.
Yeah. So that's probably the assistance of the motor that comes in, because you get your cadence, but you don't have to really push.
Yeah. So if you are riding, how often are you riding a week?
At the moment, I'm trying to get fit again, so I'm probably 4 times a week.
And what's the percentage between normal bike and e-bike?
Normal bike, 2 to 3 times. E-bikes, 4 times. It's really good for filling in, so you can do a 30k loop on the Mega Tower and then train on that the next day. You can do 40k.
So percentage-wise, you reckon it's 50-50 or?
I use the e-bike probably more still.
Okay, good. Good to know.
More kilometres anyway.
Yeah.
More. Yeah.
No, it's. I mean, I had a Banshee Phantom. I had my decoy in Madrid, and my local ride is 40 minutes to get to the local ride.
Yeah.
And I reckon I rode the Banshee once or twice when I had a flat tire on the decoy in 6 months, because it's just, I don't know, like, it's not laziness. It's just kind of like you just have more fun with the same amount of time. That's what I found.
With the e-bike, I find you just tend to explore more. You don't tend to think about the negative of like, oh, if I go down that hill, I have to come back up. You just go, oh, who cares? I'm on an e-bike. You just explore.
Exactly. Just thought of another question. Your dad has the 700 watt battery.
Yes.
And your bike came with the 500.
Yep.
And what do you reckon as far as range or time on the bike? I mean, it's very difficult to talk about range because it depends on how and where you're riding.
Yep.
So what, as a percentage wise, just on what you're seeing, what are you getting more out of that 700 watt battery?
Probably similar to one of the rides we did the other day.
Yep.
I think the 500 watt hour, we're getting 3 hours, 3.5 hours, but then starting to get on the edge of wanting to head home.
Yep.
Or getting down to the 20-30%.
Yeah.
The 700, it's crazy. You probably got 50% left after that. You can probably end up 5 to 6.
Wow.
Another 2 hours of riding on there, easily.
That's definitely worth it.
So for obviously people in Madrid wouldn't know this, but I can get about 14 runs at Fox Creek. That's climbing hills like this.
Yeah. No, you basically don't want any more. You end the ride with battery and you're tired.
Oh, you're cooked.
Yeah. So if you're thinking, if you were to give the Levo a score 1 out of 10, obviously 10 being the best,
you can't compare it to the market at the moment. You got to sort of compare it to when I bought it.
Yep.
At the time, was there any other bike better on the market? No. I would buy that bike any day of the week. Now, if you look at the market, there is so many more different options.
I know.
It's
the market's flooded now.
Yeah.
I just did my favourite picks for 2020, and I did it for 2019, and wow, man, like there's so many more bikes.
Oh, it's crazy.
They're all good. Okay, that's the last question is, like right now, given the same money, what would you buy? Would you buy the Levo again, or would you buy what would you buy?
My list would have to be. I'd definitely look at the Kenevo, not with the triple clamps or anything else, just the longest lacquer stuff. The new Norco Sight would have to be one.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't get all these lovely brands that you've done your video on. I'd like to actually have a go on a propane.
Yeah, they look good. Yeah.
But what was the? I really wouldn't mind having a go on the new Bosch motor either. Not necessarily buy one, but have a go on the new.
Yeah.
I've heard they're pretty good.
They say that the economy on the actual motor on usage of the battery is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna flip. That was the last question, but I'm gonna ask one or two more. I mean, now that you are riding a traditional mountain bike and an e-enduro bike, what do you see the future's going to be in this sector of enduro riding in, let's say, the next 5 years?
I would definitely say there's going to be more emtbs, and the integration of having a battery or battery-less system that you can ride. So instead of having two bikes where you've got to invest a huge amount of money to trying to get that one bike that can do both.
I think we're seeing that with the Specialized SL, the Levo, the new one. I mean, that's 17 kilos, which is not far off your Mega Tower, which is probably 14.
Yeah, with the heavier casing tyres, easily 14, probably a bit more.
Yeah, 14, 15. So, when we're going downhill, 3 kilos is nothing.
No.
It's
the SL's interesting where it sits. I would probably go towards something either like you take the battery out, or you have so you have the best of both worlds instead of having to physically own two bikes.
The Fasu, I kind of think that we're always going to have the big e-bikes with the big motors, the big batteries, and then we're going to have some type of hybrid that's going to be around 17, 18 that the battery and motor can be taken out of. I think that's kind of where it's at. Riders, thanks for watching. If you have any questions for Brett, hit me up, follow his channel, see some crazy Adelaide trails, and once again, I'll see you next Friday. Later.